Namaste and welcome back to the HTML class. If in case you have watched the last video, you know what we were discussing is about creating tables in HTML. Now I want to introduce you to two attributes which you will be using when making use of tables. What are those two attributes? Well, the first one is called as the column span attribute and the second one is called as the row span attribute. Now, when and where would one be using attributes like this? Let me show you. For example, let us assume I want to create a table which looks like this. If you look at the table carefully, name is there, right? Under the heading name, there is James and there is Guido. But if you look at the heading called as skills, right? Under skills, James has C, Java, HTML. Guido has C++, Python and PHP. Would you agree with me? Now the thing is, if you want that one heading to span over all these three pieces of data, then how are you going to modify the content? That is what you must understand. It is very simple. Using the attributes that I mentioned, it is going to be a piece of cake. Or really, please prove it, you might tell. Let me show you. For example, watch it. If I go back to my editor, now I'm just bringing the table in front of you for reference. This is the table, right? Now let us start creating this table end by end. Now I've told you a table is nothing but rows and columns. First, to tell HTML that you want to create that outer periphery of the table, which tag should you make use of? Table tag. And that is what I'm going to do. I'll just go there and I will tell table like this. Any confusion till there? I'll press enter. Now inside that, first one row you have to create, because it doesn't matter whether that row contains headings or whether that row contains data. It's a row nevertheless. So first let's create a row, and which is the tag? TR tag. That's what I'm going to do. Any confusion? Inside this TR tag. Now you have to decide, is that a heading or is that data? Because headings by nature come as bold text. Data is not bold, right? So this is headings. So how are we going to create it? The first heading is name, which is the tag we will use? TH tag. So let's tell TH. Now the name of the heading. Name is the name. That's it. Now I will come to the next heading. The next heading is, please understand, skills, right? So like this I will tell TH. And there I will just tell skills like this. Any confusion till here? After which, first row is taken care of. Now I should come to the next row. If you have to create one more row, which tag should you use? TR tag. That's what I'm going to do. TR tag I will create. Any confusion till this point of time? Now inside this TR tag, I should see whether it is data or whether it is heading. Clearly you can see it is data. So I'll just press enter, and first it is data, and data is TD, table data. Now what is the data in the second row? James. That's what I'm going to tell. James. Any confusion? Now look at it. There are other pieces of data also. C as well as Java and HTML are all pieces of data. So that is what I'm going to do. I'll tell TD. So the next piece of data is C. Similarly, I'll just copy that, paste it again. Yeah. And then next is, Java, and I'll make that JS capital. After which, next is your HTML. So that is what I'm going to tell. TD HTML. Any confusion till here? Now, will this give the expectation the way I expected it to appear as? That is something we'll execute and check, but as of now, I've done it like this. Any confusion till this point of time, my dear friend? Next, what you might ask? Next, I will come to the next row. So one more row is what I will create. TR I will tell. Now, in the next row, look at it and tell me, is it data or headings? Data. So TD. TD I will tell. First piece of data is the name. So Guido. Right. Now, the next piece of data in the same row, that is what I'm going to tell, TD, and the next piece of data I will put, which is nothing but C++. After which the next piece of data is Python. Python, like this I will tell. The next piece of data, as you can see, that is what I'm going to be putting. So I will just tell TD, and there I will put PHP like this. Any confusion till this point of time? So we have created the structure. But what I want you to focus on is this skills. I want you to see, if in case I execute, will the skills span across C, Java, HTML, C++, Python and PHP? Will it span across these three pieces of data? That is what we have to see, because that was our expectation. Let me take you to my browser window, and there if in case I just refresh it, you can notice this is how it looks. clearly you're able to notice that skills is not spanning. It should have been in the center. It should have spanned across these three pieces of data, but it is not. How will you make this skills to span across the three columns, which is the C++ column, the Java Python column, and the last column, which is HTML and PHP? How are you going to make it span across the three columns, if you ask me? That is where the attributes come into picture. And just by sheer common sense, look at this and tell me, should I span it across columns or should I span it across rows? What makes sense? Clearly you can see you should span it across columns. And which attribute to use for it? Column span. And you only look at this output and tell me across how many columns. See, there are totally 4 columns. Across how many columns should it span? Clearly you can notice 1, 2, 3. Across 3 columns it should span. And that is very important because that is what I'm going to give as input to my HTML code. So if I go back to my editor, I will tell, hey, listen, this heading skills, I'll go into the th tag. I'll go into the opening tag and there I'll leave a space and I'm going to add an attribute called as call span like this. Right? And it is asking, okay, skills should span across how many columns in the table? How many columns? 3 columns. Tell 3. Any confusion till here? Will this work, you might ask? 100% it will. If in case I go back to my browser window and there if in case I refresh it, you can look at the skills carefully. There you go. And it is spanning across 3 columns. Again, this is not very visually good because you're not able to understand whether it is really spanning or not, because a table is a table only if it has borders. Till now, whatever tables we have created did not have any border. But what if I wanted borders? If in case I go back to my code, please understand, this table, don't you think it would have looked much better if there were borders like this? How to put these borders? Very, very easy. All you have to do is go to the table tag opening and then tell the table tag that you want borders. How? Use the border attribute like this. I will tell border and it will ask what should be the width or that size or the thickness of the border. Maybe I will tell 1 like this. How will this change it, you might ask? If I go back to my browser and if I refresh it, wow, did you see that? And now can you clearly see how skills is spanning across 3 columns? Wonderful, isn't it? Now you can increase the thickness of the border. For example, if I go back, make the border as 3, you can notice. If I make it as 3, now if I take you back to my browser window and if in case I just refresh this piece of code, clearly you can see the thickness of the border has increased. Of course, you can make these tables look ridiculously amazing if you knew CSS, which we are going to explore very, very soon. But I hope column span is something you have understood. But there is another attribute called as row span. Where will we make use of row span, if you ask me? Let me show you. Alright my friend, now I want to show you where the row span attribute will come into picture. Let me show you the table which I want to create. This is the table which I want. As you can see, border is also there. But clearly one thing you're able to see is I have name and I have the companies the person has worked for. So James has worked for Sun Microsystems, he has worked for Oracle, and he's worked for Liquid Robotics. And Guido van Rossum has worked for Google, Dropbox, and recently he announced on Twitter that he has joined the development team of Microsoft as well. So basically what I'm trying to say is that James is spanning across 3 rows. What are the 3 rows? Sun Microsystems, Oracle, Liquid Robotics. Guido is spanning across 3 rows. Now if you want to create a table like this, don't you think row span becomes very, very important? How to code this? Let me show you. Now please understand, let me bring back the table for your reference. This is the table, right? So let us start one by one. First of all, to tell HTML you want to create a table. Which tag should you make use of? Table tag. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll just tell table like this. Great. And clearly you can see already there is a border there, so I will tell I need a border also, maybe a border of thickness 2 I want, so I will tell border equal to 2. Great. Now as you guys know, a table is made out of rows and the first row is what we have to create, so I will tell tr tag like this, tr I will tell. Now inside that, look at it and tell me the first row, does it have data or headings? Clearly it is heading, so I will tell th. And next what I'm going to do is inside that th, I am now going to be telling the first heading, which is name. And you know the next heading is company, so one more th tag I will put. Of course it's in the same row, right, companies. Now my first row is done, I will going to come to my second row, so I will again tell tr like this. Any confusion till here? Now as you can clearly see that in the second row there has to be James. But whatever James I create must span across 3 rows. How are we going to do that? I will tell you. But first of all, James, is it heading or data? Data. Data means th or td? Td. So tell that. Td I will tell. Inside that I will tell James. But if you just do this much and leave, James is going to be the first data in the first row. But that data is not going to span across 3 rows. If you have to do that, use the row span attribute. So I'll just go there and tell row span. I hope you're able to think. Row span equal to, how many rows should it span? 3 rows. So I'll tell 3. Any confusion till here? Now my friend, what you have to understand is that this is the first row, first piece of data. But of course, it will continue on to the second row and third row thanks to this attribute. But look at the first row, there is one more piece of data under companies, which is that Sun Microsystems. That is also part of the first row only, my dear friend. So which means add one more piece of data to it. So I will tell TD like this. And what is it? Sun Microsystems. So I will tell Sun Microsystems. Sun Microsystems. Any confusion till this point of time? Wonderful. Next what, if you ask me? Now think about this. Should Sun Microsystems span across multiple rows? No, it should be just there in the first row, which means no span attribute I will add. Let us come to the second row. So I will tell TR like this. This is my second row. Now you must understand, the moment you create a new row, in the previous row you created James. You told this has to span across 3 rows. So the first row name will be James. Second row also name is going to be James only because it is going to span. Any confusion till here? So here you need not tell name. Directly tell the company in the second row. And which is the company in the second row? Oracle. And that is what I am going to do. I will just tell TD because it's data and Oracle like this. I hope you are getting the idea of row span and column span. Next what, if you ask me? Very, very simple. This takes care of the second row because the name came from the first row. It spanned because it's going to span across 3 rows and the company is Oracle. Now come to the next row. So I will tell TR like this. Again, think logically. Pause for a second and think. Should I tell the name? No, because the same name is going to span on to my third row also. First row, second row, third row. Which means in the third row, what is the only piece of information I should give? Company. And which is the company? Liquid Robotics. That's what I'm going to do. TD because it's data. And Liquid Robotics, I will tell. Spelling, I will fix it. LIQUID. Liquid Robotics. Any confusion till this point of time? That's it. It is done. So James spanned across 3 rows and the company Sun Microsystem will have James as the name. Even Oracle will have James as the name. Even Liquid Robotics will have James as the name. Same thing should be repeated for Guido as well. Which means the code structure remains the same. Why to type it all again? From this TR to this TR, I will just copy it. I'll just copy it. And I'm going to paste it again. Right? All you have to do is make the necessary changes. First of all, what should the name be? Name should not be James, it should be Guido. I'll change it to Guido. Next, the company that Guido van Rossum first worked for is not Sun Microsystems, so I will accordingly change it, make it as Google. The next company is not Oracle, I will make it as Dropbox. The next company is not Liquid Robotics. I will change it to Microsoft because recently on Twitter, Guido van Rossum announced that he's coming out of retirement and he's going to join the Microsoft development team. This is exciting news for all of us. Any which way. Am I clear till this point of time? Now, same thing happens. Think about it. You have Guido, right? This is the name in the first row. But you told row span. How many rows should it span? 3 rows. Which means the second row also, name will be Guido. Third row also, name will be Guido. But company first row is Google, next row is Dropbox, next row is Microsoft. I hope how this table was constructed is crystal clear to all of you. Let us execute and check whether we will get the output the way we want it to. If in case I go back to my browser window and if I refresh it, nothing will change. Same thing is what you will get because that is what we have got. Any confusion till this point of time? Amazing. Next what you might ask. Next what means row span, column span, you have understood. Now I am going to construct a table which will make use of both row span and column span, and that will really check your understanding if you can actually do it. What does this table look like? Let me show you. Alright my friend, we have learned so many things about the table, right? Now it's time for us to create one table which is going to check your understanding of the concept, and if you have understood easily you will be able to construct such a table. Now to make things more exciting, let's put a scenario, right? Assume that there is a PUBG tournament going on. Different teams are competing against each other for one big cash prize. Now you have to create a table which showcases the points each team has got when they were competing with other teams. Now what does this table look like? Let me show you. Alright my friend, as you can see, this is that points table which I was speaking about, right? How do we create such a points table is the question. Obviously, you must know the table tag, the table row tag, the table header tag, the table data tag. In addition to that, there are row spans happening, there are column spans happening. Now, how to make sense of all this in terms of HTML code, let me show you. But for the time being, let me remove this because we have to start it from scratch. Now, my friend, if in case I go back to my editor, please understand I have kept this table here as a reference for you, right? How are we going to construct it? Let's start one by one. First and foremost, if you look at it, let us start with the first row. If you look at the first row carefully, look at this first row carefully. This entire first row, you notice. In the first row, you have something called as group 1. Yes, this is a header. This is clearly a table header. But if you look at group 1, it is spanning. Spanning across what? Columns or rows? Obviously, it is spanning across columns. Which columns is it spanning across? Team 1, team 2. 2 columns it has to span across. Great. Then there is points. If you look at points carefully, here also span is there. It is spanning across 2 columns. Which are the 2 columns? These 2 columns. See, it's spanning across these 2 columns. Not only that, if you look at it, points is also spanning across the row because here group 1, team 2. These 2 rows also points should span across, which means this is a column span. This is both a column span as well as a row span. Can you make it span across both column and row? Definitely. You can use both attributes at the same time. And here if you notice, if this part you know how to do, till here you know how to do, just taking this code, pasting it again will give you this part, and of course the data changes. Let's start. First, table tag, like this I will tell table. Any confusion? Border is there, so I will tell border like this, and I want it to be of width or thickness of 1, so I will just tell 1 like this. Inside that, first I have to create my first row, so I will tell table row. Right? Inside that, clearly you can see in the first row, group 1 is there. Is this data or heading? It's in bold, which means it's a heading. So I will tell th tag. And in that I will tell group 1 is the name. Like this group 1 I will tell. But clearly you can see that it has to span across the column. Across how many columns? Look below, you will get the idea. 2 columns. So I will tell, I will go there and I will tell column span equal to 2 like this. Right? But is it spanning across any rows? No, it is still in a single row only. So that's it, only column span. Next, I will come to the next one in the first row, which is points. So I'll just go there and I'll put table header th, and there I will tell the name of the header is points, like this. So I will just put points. Any confusion till this point of time? Next, I will go inside the table header tag and I'll tell, hey, listen, column span should be there. Across how many columns? Look below points, 2 columns, right? See, 2 columns. So I'll tell column span equal to 2. Equal to 2. Next is, also it is spanning across 2 rows. See, across 2 rows it is spanning. So I will tell row span is also 2. Row span equal to 2. Any confusion till this point of time? Are you able to see how to think, right? Of course, in the first row itself, group 2 is also there. But group 2 is similar to what you have done for group 1. So I'll just copy that piece of code and I will paste it again. I'll just copy that and I will paste it again. And all I have to do is change group 1 to group 2 like this. I will change it to group 2. Obviously, this is also spanning across 2 columns and this is also, that's it. There is no row span here. Any confusion till here? Great. After that, again I have points part. So just I will copy that points part and paste it again. That's it. Because the concept is same, spanning across 2 columns and 2 rows. I hope you're able to think. That's it. Any confusion till here? Now my first row is done. But if I come to my second row, see, even in the second row headers are there, headings are there. Team 1, team 2 is an heading, which means one more row I will create like this. TR I will tell. Table row. Any confusion till this point of time? Wonderful. Inside that, I need a header, right? So TH I will tell. Any confusion till this point of time? Now, please understand, what I am going to do is, here team 1 is the name. So, as it is team 1 I will tell like this. Team 1 I will tell. Any confusion till this point of time? Now, is it spanning? No, there is no span. See, there is only one piece of data below that, just one line of data. Any confusion? So, that is team 1. Next, team 2 is there. So, like this I will tell TH team 2, like this. TH team 2. Now, points you ignore. Anyways, it will span and come into this row also. It will extend and come because that is what you have told. But after that, team 3, team 1 and team 2 again is there, but below group 2. So, I'll just copy this, paste it again. I'll just copy this and I will paste it again. Any confusion till here? And of course, points, you need not worry about it because this points will anyways span across 2 columns and 2 rows. It will come into this row also. It is there in this row also, this row also. That's it. Really, will this code give me this structure? Why don't we execute this much and check? If in case I take you to my execution window on my browser and if I just refresh it, you can notice that the structure is ready. All that is remaining is below that. Keep filling the data. That is all that is pending. So let us fill in the data. So very simple. Watch it like this. I'm going to go and I'm going to start filling in my data. So the next row, see, I'm in the third row. So I'll tell TR. And in that row, obviously there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 pieces of data is there. So I'll tell TD. TD like this. And the first piece is Anthony. So I'll tell Anthony like this. THONY. After which next piece of data is, so I will just tell TD, it is Jack Frags. So I will just tell Jack Frags like this. Right? After which I will tell TD, which is the points. So as you can see, the points is what I'm going to mention. So 5, and I will tell TD like this. And of course, I will tell it as 5. Of course, you know, if it is a 5-point game, both people cannot get 5. In the table I made, I have shown 5, but here I will make it as 3. Because if one guy has got 5 points, you know, both cannot be winners, right? Anyways, any confusion till this point of time? Next, what I'm going to do is the next group 2 you see, team 1, team 2. So it is basically link and your other name, which I'll put as Summit. So link, LINK, okay, lyric, okay, fine, sorry, my bad. I'm old, can't see. Lyric followed by Summit, I will tell. Any confusion till this point of time? And apparently these are all actual PUBG gamers, though I don't play PUBG, I do not know. Anyways, so next is their points, so 5, and there also I will make it as 4 like this. Any confusion till this point of time? Great. If I execute this much, let us see how our third row looks like. If I go there, then like this, if in case I refresh, clearly it works. Same thing is what you have to repeat. Okay, one more entry I will make here. Because now you know the structure, you can add how many ever entries you want. I will just add one more entry. to show you that yes, it works. So all I will do is, need not retype it completely. This entire third row I will copy. Third row code I will copy it. And as it is, I'm going to paste it. I will paste it. After which I'll just change the data. So it's Dr. Disrespect. So Dr. Disrespect I will tell. After which next is Ninja. So I will tell Ninja like this. Right, I make that N as capital. After which next is the point. So 5 and 4 I will make it as. 5 remains the same, 4 I will make it as. After which the next is Jiffy and it is Shroud and your other name, which is I don't even know, Technosh apparently. Okay, whatever, Technosh. Okay, great. And their points is 4 and 2. So I'll make it as 4 and 2. As you can see the table, 4 and 2. Any confusion? Let's see whether one more row gets added this way. If I just go back to my browser window and if in case I just refresh it, clearly it works. So like this, how many ever rows you want, you can add. So I hope table, table row, table heading, table data and the row span, column span attributes are crystal clear for all of you. Of course, in the assignments, I would have given you few more such wonderful tables for you to create and check your skill set whether you have really understood or not. But my friend, how important tables is to present data in a very organized fashion, I hope you have been able to understand, right? But tables are used for much more better things and tables can be presented in an even better way. In fact, would you like to see that if at all you had knowledge of CSS, what kind of amazing tables you could make? Let me show you a few really cool tables. Let me show you some really cool tables that one can be creating if only one knows CSS. Let me show you one table, for example. Look at this table. Yes, definitely you can be creating a table like this. Now all this coloring etc. is courtesy of the styling properties applied on this web page, on the HTML, which is what CSS is all about. If you thought this is all the magic CSS can do for your table, let me show you another type of table. Now look at this table. This is how the table looks. If in case I reduce the size of the browser, automatically the table changes. This is called as a responsive table. If I increase the size of the browser, automatically the table changes. How cool is that? How to do this, I will definitely teach you the moment we start exploring CSS. Let me show you another really cool responsive table, right, with a lot of coloring as well. As you can see, it looks so amazing. But the beauty is, if in case I reduce the screen size, automatically it adjusts itself. I'll just scroll down to show you the same thing, right? But if I expand the screen size, as you can see, automatically it adjusts itself such that it is going to change, and you can notice that as well. Beautiful, isn't it? Now all this is the courtesy of CSS. So never ever expect to leverage the complete potential of front-end technologies without learning all of it. If just HTML and CSS can do this much for you, imagine HTML, CSS and JavaScript as a combination. Imagine HTML, CSS, JavaScript and Bootstrap as a combination. So definitely there is a lot to learn and I hope you are as excited as me.